Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Wednesday's Talking Town. And I'm going to need your help tonight without a shadow of a doubt. I've got FOMO to the extreme. Obviously, we've got a little contingent down at the SCA Awards. I say down, up in Manchester, representing Talking Town. We've got a viewer representation from Mr. Stephen Parry. We've got the contributors, Amy and Rich, and of course, the legend that is Ian. They're hopefully about to pick up an award. Well, no, let's be real, probably not. But I definitely need your help tonight in the live chat with my severe case of FOMO. Which, of course, if you don't know what that is, that's a fear of missing out. And I'm big time missing out. I've just got a picture from Rich of him meeting Don Robbie, who, I'm sure you probably, if you know Arsenal Fan TV, Talking Town, I'm sure you can share the similarities between the two. Probably know that I'm quite a fan of the Don. So very jealous. But we're here. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. We are here to get through it together. Adi Crouch, welcome in. Good evening. Matt Stannard is here. Andy Barrell. I've done a like, but feeling not good with flu. So off to bed. Andy, I hope you get well soon, my man. Thank you so much for giving the like button. Follow his great lead and hit the like button. We, of course, have the Trimley Red Devils highlight package. That is out now. Hit the link in the chat to go and watch that after this show. 6 minutes, 7-5. It's a hell of a game. A hell of a game. So, check it out. Be sure. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button. 80 Crouch is already here, not feeling well. Likewise, Lee Brown's here. Phil's here. We're all here. Absolutely loving it. Cristiano Ronaldo's interview is currently live, although I'm sure I've probably seen all of it across social media over several chunks. Saying that, this is a story for you. I recently watched a film on TikTok spread out across, I think it was something like 560 odd 60-second clips. It would have been quicker for me just to go and find the film and watch it, but I felt like I was watching a mini TV series. It was quite good fun. I can't remember what the film was or even what it was called, but it was still good. Anyway, it is Wednesday. Next week, just to remind you, the World Cup is starting. As a result, all shows, I say all shows, Monday and Wednesday shows and Friday shows will be starting at 8:45. So where a show normally starts at 8:30, it will be starting at 8:45. Just to remind you, that's to avoid the last of the World Cup kickoffs. And being Wednesday, being hump day, I thought we'd start with a little bit of fun before I brought in the first contributor, which is, of course, Mr. Rapstar himself. There is a site on Twitter called Fesshole, where you can confess your sins anonymously. And some of the stuff you see on there, it's just superb. So I thought we'd play a little game. Fesshole or not Fesshole? Is this something that has been posted on the Fesshole account, or is it something I've just completely made up to fool you? I'll give you two, and you can decide whether they are Fesshole or not Fesshole. Okay, here we go. Here's the first one. We've got I run a Tory parody Twitter account. The posts are meant to be ironic and sarcastic, but occasionally I agree with what I write. It's like the dark side in Star Wars gradually pulling me in. Was that a Fesshole, or was that something I've just recently made up? And the last one I'll give you this evening on a Wednesday hump day to get us through. I'm in my 50s and balding somewhat, but I decided to grow what's left of my hair long. I look ridiculous, but it means when my wife discovers one of my girlfriend's long dark hairs in the bed, I can plausibly claim that it's mine. Are they two Fessholes? Is one a Fesshole? Is neither a Fesshole? Let me know. Get active in the live chat as we introduce our first Lewis Rapstar Robertson.
That'll be with part.
Have you come across Fesshole before?
Yeah, and I read one of those today actually, but I won't say which one.
There you go. Well, there you go. I mean, it is a site. I have to say, I do find myself checking when I'm.
It's just funny, and the non-sexual ones are probably funnier. I saw one today, which isn't giving anything away. I thought you might mention it, but somebody found a set of keys, and prior to returning them to the owner via social media posts,
yes,
they put an old Tesco club card fob that they had. They swapped it, their one for the person who owned the keys. So for months afterwards, the other person was racking up club card points.
I found some car keys on the ground in the car park. Before handing them into a lost property, I swapped their club card king ring for a spare one of mine, so they'd rack up the points for me. I mean, that's just genius.
I always wonder, has there ever been a post from anyone that I know or have ever had any contact with?
This is it. I mean, has anyone ever sat there and thought, hang on, wait.
The one about growing the hair certainly doesn't apply to me. So I can safely hold my hands up and say, if that was posted on there, it didn't come from me.
But if it is a fez hole, that is like sort of Matrix level thinking. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, growing your hair just so your missus don't find out you're having an affair. I mean, that's second level.
I know the extremes people go to.
Absolutely. How about this one, right? This one. One of my colleagues is called Matthew, and on every single shift that we work together, I ask him what his plans are post work. Every time he replies and asks, "What are mine?" And I begin with, "Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be."
What was it? Was it Stars in Their Eyes?
Yes, tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be David Bowie. Great show. How are you, Lewis?
I'm really good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Looking forward to the World Cup. Only 3-4 days away now.
It's really strange, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree. I don't know if it's obviously there's the human rights issues, and there's a lot of issues around it. I've watched a couple of documentaries that have been on recently about the World Cup and in Qatar. I don't know if it's because it's halfway through a Premier League season. We obviously had Premier League games last weekend. I just haven't quite got into it yet, and it doesn't feel like a World Cup's on the horizon. Obviously, the time of year as well. So I have invested in a couple of sweepstakes, and I'm trying to get into it. I'm sure once football starts, it's football, and it will come at quite a rate, and I'll be fully engrossed. But for now, it just all seems a bit surreal, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the tournament goes. I think probably Scotland not being there plays a part as well. If Scotland were there, I'd probably be looking forward to it even more.
Yeah, well, this is it. Yes, Wales obviously will be there, but I'm with you. They flew out yesterday, didn't they, England, and just lacked any of the normal pomp, pageantry, excitement, build up. All they've flown out is getting closer. Because I'm thinking about Exeter. I'm thinking about a Papa John's game, which fucking no one should be thinking about. Let's be honest.
They've stopped the championship games, but the championship starts up again before the final of the World Cup. I know the Premier League's back Boxing Day, but it just all seems a bit of a mishmash, and it's absolutely killing me on Football Manager this first season of trying to sort out who I'm playing and transfers and injuries. I'm no good. I would have been sacked if I was a real manager by now. I'd be all over the place in terms of I'd probably miss the coach. I'd probably think we haven't got a game or something, and we have got a game. So yeah, it's a good job I'm not involved in elite level football.
It's funny you should mention that, to be fair. I mean, some have been questioning McKenna on the social media sites over the last couple of days. We're not going to go into that because that's actually nonsense. But, you've said about not being a good manager. Some have questioned the rotation, some have questioned all sorts of things. And I suppose as a manager, that is your job. You're questioned about everything, aren't you? And you've got to live with the highs, live with the lows, and rock and roll.
Yeah, I think Rich mentioned it on Sunday's show, and I think the boys touched on it on Monday as well in Talking Town Extra Time, that the way the world is today, every decision you make, every 11 that you pick, every substitution you make will be analysed, and platforms like this, and I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but everybody will have a slightly different opinion, and McKenna knows that. Any pro football manager knows that, and they have to make difficult choices. And I saw a lot of criticism or mocking almost of him throwing Cameron Burgess up front towards the end the other day, and yes, it didn't work out, but who else did he have that could provide that physical presence up front without a Hadmi? The fact was he was trying it, possibly a bit too late in the day, but if Kamara's shot had gone in and not hit the post, the conversation would have been about what a genius move it was and how he threw the kitchen sink at him, and we got over the line and got 3 points. Now, I know we didn't, and it's if, buts and maybes, but yeah, it's fine line. But yeah, I'm certainly not buying into any questioning of McKenna. And I've seen a few fans. I know, I've had a lot of conversations with Matt Stannard, for example, and he sort of said, in his opinion, McKenna's made, I've got to be careful how I word this because I don't want to quote someone else, but he sort of said he feels that McKenna's made a couple of errors of judgment. Not that he's saying that he's not a good manager or anything like that, but I know that some fans are questioning, and that's their right to as supporters. But for me, I think we have to keep the faith. We have to keep judging. We're still second in the league. And our blip, if you go over the last 3 games, forget how the games have played out. Would we have taken 5 points from Charlton away, Port Vale away, and Cheltenham at home? Probably not. I would have said minimum of kind of 7. But we've got 5 and we're unbeaten in those 3 games. Now, I know the way the last 2 in particular have played out, questions have been raised, and I understand that. But looking at that bigger picture, we're still second in the league. You know, if season finished tomorrow, we are where we need to be. And that's something that we've been craving for, and we've put ourselves in the mix. And I think we'll continue to be up there. So I'm fully behind McKenna. I'm still fully optimistic that we'll be top 2 and celebrating being where we need to be at the end of the season.
There we go. Love that. Why not? You know, you've got to stay confident. And one thing I am confident in is us winning. No, I'm not going to say that out loud. That sounded better in my head than it did. It was about to come out of my mouth. Paul P. McKenna isn't going to get it right 100 at the time. No manager does. Yeah, Lee Bayes. It was desperation, but so what? He's pushing for 3 points. Plan A wasn't scoring. Did you say desperation, Lee? Well, talking of desperate, I'm having a baby in January. So if you're not yet a member of Talking Town, i.e. a Talking Town fifth stander or a member on YouTube, then why not? I'm having a baby. I'm desperate. Hit the join button on YouTube or head to our link in Ko-Fi and become a Talking Town fifth stander today. From $4.99, you can put nappies on my baby. No, wait, no. You can support the platform and growing and being the best of itself and achieving more nights like tonight. Not that I'm there, but, you know, nights like the FCAs where Rich is currently meeting the rich and the famous, drinking the finest of champagnes. And I'm about to hear probably several explain. No filter, Yorkshire v. Vicky Henderson.
With hindsight, I wish I'd joined you in the Jaeger bombs because that match was shit.
Hey, Vicky!
Hi.
We love Vicky. How are you?
I'm all right. Good. Yeah, thanks.
Good. I wish you'd joined me in the Jaeger bombs because that match was shite, as your intro says. Cheltenham at the weekend. What are your thoughts following a 1-1 draw? It was 1-1, wasn't it?
Yeah.
1-1. God, you know what? They come thick and fast when you get to sit in this chair. 1-1 draw at home to Cheltenham. What are your thoughts?
Well, it wasn't quite as bad as the Charlton game because I did get chucked out of a pub for swearing on that day. So it wasn't quite as bad. But yeah, I mean, the thing is we expect to win every time, and I know we're not going to, but it still feels like a bit of a loss, doesn't it, when we don't get that win? Our expectations are way too high sometimes. It wasn't a loss. So we go again on Saturday, don't we?
Are you a pet owner, Vicky? Do you have dogs or anything?
Yeah, I've got a dog.
Would you allow Ipswich Town to walk them?
No, not on the lead. Well, can't keep a lead, can they?
No. Why can't we keep a lead? What do you put that down to? Because it's not the first time Saturday. If we get serious for a second, it's not the first time we've gone ahead in a game and not walked out with the 3 points. What do you put? Because I was trying to sort of gauge this question on Saturday and on Monday, and I'll probably open it up to yourself as well, Lewis. But Vicky first, you know, is it tactical? Is it player? Is it mentality? What about at the moment? You know, and is it a bad habit that we've formed to nick one of our sponsors' songs? What is it about us at the moment?
I think teams just come and park the bus, don't they? And we haven't found a way to break that down at the moment. We chuck everything at them. But I don't know. I think Walton's form has gone off a little bit. I mean, right now he can't save £1 with 250p off coupons, can he?
I like that. I've not heard that one. Walton got a lot of criticism. Some were calling for him to have a couple of games in the stands, rest. I'm not quite sure I'm there yet, Lewis.
No,
but,
I'm not.
You know, we can't keep a lead. Is it a bad habit?
No, I think you have to look at each game on its own individual merit. I think that yes, there's been lapses in concentration, there's been errors, but statistically as well. And I know you don't like XG, and I'm not a massive fan of XG, but it's ridiculous the number of games we've had where teams have had next to nothing, and yet they've managed to get a goal, and we've peppered the goal and things like that. And I don't always necessarily think it's just a case of, it's the easiest thing in the world sometimes to criticise and say, oh, so-and-so's crap, or we're crap, or McKenna got it wrong. I actually think occasionally players are not trying too hard, but just need cool heads in both boxes, and we haven't had that recently at times, but it's only been on the odd occasion. I went to Port Vale away, and I thought we played really well. We dug in, we weren't at our best, but a minute, I think the fourth official held up the board for 6 minutes added time at the end of the first half. We were winning 2-0. Ladapo had scored a great goal. Humphrey scored a great goal. And their keeper went down injured. And word kind of filtered across the stand we were in that they didn't have a sub-goalkeeper. And I was talking to my brother-in-law being a bit like, oh, this is perfect. 2-0 up. Their keeper's down injured. They haven't got one on the bench. They might have to throw an outfield player in goal. And that was in like the 4th minute of injury time, I think. And then very last kick of the half, Port Vale made it 2-1. First kick of the second half, they got a corner. Lapsing concentration, they made it 2-2, and I was kind of stood there thinking, how have we done this? And the same with the Charlton game as well. And I don't want to pick holes in people. I think collectively the players know that at times they've been punished for lapses in concentration. I have no doubt that we'll address that. I just think that the last couple of results have been a freak, and I know people will pick it apart, but I'm really confident that we won't let a 2-goal. You can clip this up. We're not going to let a 2-goal lead slip again this season. Saturday's a bit different. We were 1-0 up. We scored early. Sometimes you can almost score a goal too early, if that makes sense, because Cheltenham had to come out at that point, and they had a couple of decent chances. And yeah, it was a poor goal to concede, but I'm certainly not on the bandwagon of dropping Walton. The number of points he saved us last year and this year. And what message would that send out to him? Even if we took him out for one game, that it's almost a case of now's the brave decision is to back him, keep him in the team, have a word with him. He knows no one needs to tell Christian Walton or any of the other players that they've made errors at certain times in certain games. They know that. And I just think by taking them out of the picture, it almost just kind of buries them even further. And the other thing I would say on the goalkeeper situation, I don't think we should drop Christian Walton. But I would say as well, because he came in for a lot of stick this time last year, from the Wickham game, which was just after Christmas last year, it was McKenna's first game. Walton was injured, Hladky came in, and in that game and every game he's played since, including the cup games, Hladky's looked assured. I thought he looked good against Bracknell the other week. Some good distribution, was steady, commanding in difficult situations. So I think as well, I'm not calling for Hladky to play. Christian Walton is our number one. We need to stick with him. But I do think we also need to reflect on the fact we've got a very, very good number 2 goalkeeper as well, and not read too much into the first couple of months of his town career when we were a bit all over the place anyway, and you could see his confidence took a bit of a knock.
Yeah, that's fair. Obviously League 2 Golden Glover winner, I believe, the year he arrived, or year before he arrived with us. But Vicky, Norman here, we've been saying freak results a little too often this season.
Yeah, I just hope that when it comes to the end of the season, we're not going to regret these lost chances that we've had and we've thrown points away. I hope it's a blip. Let's hope it is. Because Sheffield Wednesday are breathing down our necks quite hard, aren't they? So, and I think Peterborough is winning tonight as well. So that puts the pressure on. We can't afford to lose points anymore.
No, this is it. And obviously, Cheltenham is not a game at home you expect to drop points. Was it a bit of a drop off to sleep issue, do you think, Saturday, Vicky? Do you think it was a 1-0 up, in cruise control, many chances flying, high, wide and everywhere else, but always in control? That you just go to sleep naturally sometimes, and before you know it, it's back at 1-1, and it's hard to I don't know, what is it? What was it about Saturday or games like Saturday, as a whole?
I think Lewis is right that there is lapses of concentration, and that's not good enough. They need to concentrate for 99 minutes of the game, if that's what it's going to be, or 90 or 96, whatever it is, and not just switch off. And they are switching off too much. How I rectify that? Well, not me, but how they rectify it, I don't know. But it is becoming a little bit of too often for me. That said, the other thing I wanted to say was we're not putting away chances. And I don't know why. There was plenty. We're hitting the post, we're hitting the bar, we're, all these great saves, but we're not hitting it in the net, and that's where it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And that could be a striker, that could be a form issue, could be any number of issues. But Paul here says we need to go up this season, or else our best players could get picked off, Vicky. Look what happens at MK Dons in the summer. Obviously, we are better placed financially than MK, but it could happen. Do you agree with that? Because I know that's something the fisherman certainly subscribes to as well.
Yeah, I've always said that. I definitely think we've got to do it this season. Otherwise, we're going to struggle to hang on to that dream that we've sold the players. This big story that we've said, we're going places. Well, we haven't gone anywhere for the last 3 years, so we need to step it up. Yeah. And I am still hopeful. I'm not saying that we've thrown it away, but we need to step up now and keep going. We can't afford any more losses.
Yeah. Matt, in response to yourself there, Lewis says, yes, Lewis, I don't want Morgan's confidence dented, but I'm actually worried about him in the same way I've given my team members a day off and they're not firing for whatever reason. Is it different with football, Lewis, in the sense of if you give a player a day off, let's say you sit Walton down, you say, look, you're not being at your best recently. Let's take you out of the firing line this Saturday. Does it actually work counterproductive, do you think, in football, where it actually feels you more like of a telling off, and it can go the other way? Because football is very much its own business, its own identity, its own environment, its own standalone everything, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I don't think you can compare football to
a lot of things.
Other employment. And I've, in my own professional career, I've been managed and I have managed people. And I'm sure a number of other people here are in a similar position. I think it comes down to communication and how it's communicated to the person in terms of, they're coming out of the team. And I think McKenna and Pert are very good at that because, there was a lot of talk about Ladapo at Rotherham and how he threw a bit of a strop last year. And a lot of Rotherham fans in the summer were saying he's a bad egg. Well, there's been games when Ladapo's not started. He's come out of the team. He came in, he was given the number 9 shirt. I was chatting to Colin yesterday about Ladapo and, what would that do for him if we brought in a new striker in January? But I think McKenna has a way of communicating to people. I think back to the situation with Bartosz Białkowski against Norwich and how Paul Hurst made the change and brought Gherkin in without, I believe, communicating that to Bart. And that, I think, is the wrong way to do it. I think, if the decision was made, and remember, Kieran McKenna and Martin Pert will be seeing Christian Walton in training every day. We're not. And so I think they'll be able to judge far better than we can. But if they did decide to make a change and it was communicated in the right manner to Christian Walton, I think that would probably limit the damage to him in terms of, okay, understand taking a game out, that might make him hungrier. Everyone's different. Everyone responds differently, don't they? Some people need an arm around the shoulder and encouragement and love. Others need a kind of stern kind of rocket up them from time to time to keep them focused. And Christian Walton strikes me as very confident in his abilities. Seems like a really nice guy away from the pitch. And he's probably the first to hold his hands up, literally, and say that he's made a couple of errors. But I think it is a couple of minor errors that we've been punished for. I'm not reading too much into it. And I'm very confident and hopeful that Christian Walton will be in goal against Exeter on Saturday. And I'm sure he'll have an assured and commanding game as he normally does. I'm putting down, 1 or 2 moments at Charlton and 1 moment at Cheltenham down to just a bad week. And he puts it behind him. And he's the best goalkeeper in the league. And we're lucky to have him.
Form temporary, class permanent.
I was just going to ask, Lewis, why do you think then that we conceded twice against Charlton? The second time, the last 2 times in injury time. What do you put that down to?
I know people don't like it. I think we thought the game was won. We as supporters thought the game was won. I think the players thought the game was won. The referee added on probably more time than most expected. I think, Rich was in the ground and Matt Stannard and other people. And I think most people sort of said when they got it back to 4-3, that was kind of it and it was done. But it was almost, I put it down to a bit of a freak. And I know people don't like me to say that. And yes, okay, you could say that we can't just put everything down to it was a freak result. But to be winning 4-2 in the 94th minute and to draw a game 4-4, I think it was a freak. It was a one-off result that we probably won't see in 100 more times. The players were absolutely devastated by that. And that's why I'm confident that it won't happen again. I think McKenna was quite late to do the press after the game. I think Sam Morsey spoke after the game. I think they had a good look at themselves. And I don't think you can compare what happened at Charlton to Saturday. Saturday was we scored, a lapse in concentration allowed them back into it, and then we peppered them. I think the difference between this year and previous years, and I do understand the reason why people are a bit cautious at the moment. I take on board what you say as well, Vic, but I've watched pretty much every game this season, and I don't know if you'd agree. I haven't seen a team that's outplayed us in any game. Yes, teams have had spells, and I think back to the Plymouth away game, that's probably the one game where you could see it was coming. After they equalised, they were battering us, and we didn't look like we could get out of our own half. But it was about a year ago that I remember going to watch us play Rotherham at home, and we lost 2-0, similar result to the one we had a couple of years previously under Lambert. We didn't lay a glove on Rotherham that day. And yet, myself included, we were all convinced that we were going to turn the tables and we were going to climb up the league and make the playoffs. In every game I've seen this season, I think we've been the better team. And there's an argument there that we could have won every game. It's fine margins. And yes, we haven't won every game, and we should probably have more points on the board than we've got. But we've got no one to fear in this league. We've still to play Peterborough, who I'd consider as a team that's going to be up there. Other than that, we've played everyone else, and we've more than matched them. And I'd be more worried if we'd drawn the game on Saturday and, had 3-4 shots. I know that we didn't have many on target, but we were creating the opportunities. And people talk about strikers going for a goal drought in that if they keep missing the chances, at least they're getting in the right positions. Yes, we need reinforcements in January. I wave the flag for, we need a striker. But, I think it's fine margins. And I think Leif Davis said after the game at one point, we continue to play like that, team's going to get a bit of a pasting. And I genuinely believe that's around the corner.
Okay. I think many fans probably feel the same. And I think everyone thought Cheltenham was perhaps the start. 80 says at least Walton's not making errors like Brian Gunn's famous air kick. We've got a great comment from Norman, which McKenna's high on emotional intelligence, the single most important ingredient in a leader. Great comment. Thank you very much, Norman. Paul P. I think we need a new striker in January. To back up what you just said there, Lewis. Regardless of what Ladapo does with TJJ out for months and Jackson more of a winger than a forward, we only have Hadmi as backup for Ladapo. We will have to, obviously, whatever we do this season, do it without, sadly, Dominic Ball, it appears, because obviously Dominic Ball put this out on his Twitter account after having a scan. I'm absolutely gutted to announce that I've ruptured my something. I will have to receive surgery and face a minute. Whatever you say, Lewis. You're the one there with the GCEs. It's not something I have faced before, but a challenge I know I'll overcome and come back stronger. I'm glad that it is unlikely I will play again this season, but I was doing my absolute best to get back out there to help the team. Thank you everyone for the support and kind messages. So, Dom Ball out for the year. Lee Evans out until, let's say, the new year. Let's be positive and say the new year. Humphreys, step forward. Your table is ready for you to emerge and take your seat. Any concerns, Vic, that Humphreys is now going to get extended run of games at such a young, tender age?
No, I think he's impressed so far. To be honest, Mickey Mouse can be in that position for me as long as they hold up the team and we score and win.
And that's obviously no indictment on Humphreys. You don't think he's Mickey Mouse. You actually are impressed with him, or he's burst on the scene, isn't he? He's really come on in just these last two games.
Yeah, and I think it will do him good. It'll get him in the team. It'll build his confidence. Would we have had him there if everybody was fit? Probably not. But it is what it is, isn't it?
It's funny you say that because Paul Warren said about a Derby player after the Ipswich Town Derby game that careers have made off injury. This could be the real start of him, couldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I have no major concerns about him being there. I think he's proved himself in the games that he's played in. And we have no choice at the end of the day. We have to put somebody in those positions, and as a backup, it's not a bad choice.
No, and obviously Kamara is, still somewhat away, Lewis. But is there a formation change on the horizon? Do you feel? Do you think you could perhaps go with? I know previously he's played Aluko there. Obviously, that's not available to McKenna at the moment with Aluko also out injured. But Chaplin, could he find himself next to a Morsey? Is that a feasible option for you, or is he not quite the same player as saying Aluko could do it for a game or two? Is it just Humphreys? How do you see it playing out between now and whenever Lee Evans, be that the 1st of January or not, is able to get himself back?
No, I wouldn't drop Chaplin back there. Really like Chaplin. I agree with what many have said, that he's possibly not been playing in the last month or so at the same standards that he sets himself, very high standards that he sets himself. I think his game doesn't suit playing in a deeper midfield role. He needs to be buzzing around on the edge of the area, getting on the ball. Mm-hmm. Saying I don't think he's got the discipline makes it sound as though I think he's ill-disciplined, and that's not what I'm saying at all. But his natural game is to play further up the pitch. So I think you're down to Humphreys, Kamara and Morsey until Lee Evans is back. And I completely echo what Rich, what the others have said about what a big loss Lee Evans is. But we are where we are. We can't change it now. We've got to do what we've got to do to get through to January. And I completely agree with Vicky that I think Cameron Humphreys is ready, and this is opportunity. And if he's got not just the footballing ability, but the mentality that Kieran Dyer's talked about, that others have talked about, then he'll grab this opportunity and really stake a claim. And teams evolve as the season goes on as well. And I think I said that at the very beginning of the season, that first 11 that we put out against Bolton was never going to be kind of the 11 that continued throughout the season. People will stake a claim. Look at how Janoy Donasian staked his claim last year and became a firm favourite and a regular. So Cameron Humphreys got a real opportunity. I'd play him. I wouldn't change formation, play him alongside Morsey. And then that allows Kamara to get some minutes off the bench, hopefully make an impact, because he did, despite not scoring the other day, he did make an impact in the short period of time he was on the pitch. He got a goal against Bracknell. He is a quality player, and I was raving on deadline day when we signed him, along with many others. But he's not, I don't believe, quite ready to start yet. So I'd be going with Morsey and Humphreys every game as much as possible, and hope that Lee Evans can come back as soon as possible alongside Kamara. But just on a personal note as well, it's a real shame for Dom Ball. No one likes to see that. It sounds like a really nasty injury, and I think everyone's best wishes are with him for a speedy recovery, because an injury like that, that can have massive consequences potentially for people's careers. And it's also unfortunate. I think the one attacking player that I would say could drop into central midfield, as he did last year, as Aluko, and we don't have that luxury either currently at the moment. So yeah, we go with what we've got to go with, and so be it. And we get through to January, and other teams have got injuries as well. Plymouth are now losing key players. It's all part of a long and brutal League One season.
Yeah, really, absolutely. And I echo those thoughts, and I'm sure Vicky does as well. Matt Stallard, do you see what McKenna said about Humphreys? I thought it was really interesting, especially the bit where he said he was having to explain the system to Kamara. So obviously shown a good intelligence there on young shoulders. Paul P. Kamara looks very useful, hopefully fully fit sooner rather than later. Norman, Humphreys only needs experience and a bit more physicality, which of course will come. He'll grow into that. Collins earlier said, if the old adage, if you're good enough, you're old enough. Womble, if Humphreys is ready, we'll see any clever movement in front of him. Sorry, I'm banging the same drum. 80, perhaps Tukes' ghost could make a defender creeping in from behind. Tux's ghost from Monday's show, of course, the door opening by itself. You've got me, yes. I did message Tux off the back of everybody messaging me saying, does he live with somebody? Just to confirm he does in fact live with somebody. And yes, he does. So we can confirm there are no poltergeists in the Tux household. We think, anyway. We think. So that's the midfield. How about the centre-half position? I'll ask you both the same question. Would you make any changes there Saturday? You've got Wolf and Edmondson, who currently hold the shirt from last Saturday. You've got Burgess nearing. Well, he came on again, didn't he? This time up the front. Any changes, or is Wolf and Emerson still the two for you, Lewis?
Yeah, I'd stick with Wolf and Edmondson. Burgess was really unlucky with injury. Was playing really well up until then, but George Edmondson's a great player, and we're lucky to have him, and Wolf as well. So I'd keep with them. Also, as well, considering we're playing Exeter, who have got really good movement up front as well, and I just think Edmondson's slightly more mobile than Burgess. I think if we were playing an Accrington or a Morecambe, that might be different. But I think we've got to go with considering what Exeter bring to the party, and they're very good going forward, and they score a lot of goals. So I'd stick with Wolfenden and Edmondson for Saturday.
Okay. Vicky, yourself?
Yeah, me too. For all the reasons that Lewis has just said. I like Burgess. I like him a lot, but I think he's more static. So I'd want to see Edmondson in there as well.
David says Burgess for definite, Burgess for Colin. Is JD out? Why not Edmondson, Wolf, and Burgess? I don't think JD's out. Is he? I've not heard anything.
He obviously went off injured on
Saturday. Of course he did.
There's
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Of course, but that would be a KVY, wouldn't it?
Well, this comes down to a debate that I've had with people previously about, are we playing a 3 or a 4 at the back? If we're playing a 3 at the back, in my opinion, Burns is out of position, because for me, he's been playing up alongside the 3 behind the striker. So if he's a wing back, he's too far forward. I believe Burns is deliberately playing that role, and JD's been further wide in the right back area. But for some people, they think we're playing with wing backs with Burns and Davis, and then JD, Wolf, and Edmondson. For me, I think we're playing 4. So you've got to bring in KVY if Donasian's out, and then keep with your middle 2. But all about opinion, and it's whatever formation it is. I do appreciate it's very fluid anyway, in that it's ever moving parts as the game evolves. So for me, if JD's out, I'll bring KVY in.
Okay, KVY for you, Lou. It's an interesting one, that, because I'd completely forgot he went off injured. Like, it's been no conversation on it at all, Vicky, that Janoy Donasian even went off. They're like, honestly, I read that comment out there from Matt, and it'd like I've been, the old Men in Black film where the button. I couldn't remember it, and because no one's spoken about it. So
wasn't it that he had a bit of a knock in the warm up, and it didn't get any better in the game, so that's why he went off. I think
possibly.
That's it.
I honestly, I've got now. Thinking about it, I can see him going off, but it can't be anything serious, surely.
If that's the case, as Vicky says, then it can't be anything too serious. I suspect he went off as a precaution, which means, who knows, he could be back on Saturday. It could be the following week. But with the cup games we've got as well, it might be an opportunity just to say, make sure you get it right. Take 2 weeks out and train, light training if needed. Get yourself fully fit for the next league game against Fleetwood.
With all these injuries coming up, well, not coming up, but having happened, Vicky, we've got 6 games from my reckoning between now and the 1st of January where we can bring in reinforcements. We've got Exeter, obviously, this Saturday away, Fleetwood at home, Posh at home, or Tin Pot City, as Colin likes to call them, Wickham away, Oxford at home, and Pompey away. 18 points to play for.
Yeah.
Realistically, with the injuries that we've already got, not counting anyone that may get injured from between now and whenever, or any suspensions. Looking at you, Sam Horsey.
Yeah.
Now we've got no midfielders left. Just don't make a tackle, Sam. Just otherwise we're rolling out the under 15s in midfield. How many points out of the 18 do you think we're going to get between now and Jan the 1st, Vicky?
I'm going to say, hang on. How many games did you say? 6?
6. 18 points to play for. 3 home, 3 away.
I'm going to go for 12.
Okay. 12 points. Got 13 from Finches. Lewis, where are you thinking? I'm not counting, obviously, the cup games here, which is a completely different question as to how you manage those now with the injuries mounting up. That's a different segment. That's a different question. But on the 18 points, the games, how do you see him going?
15.
Ooh. Where are you dropping points, Lewis? And I'll ask you the same question, Vic. Everything about that. But where are you dropping points? You got Exeter up Saturday, Fleetwood, then Posh. Those 3 games, 9 points there. Are you taking all 9? Are you taking 7? Are you taking? What are you taking from those first 3, Lewis?
9.
You're going to beat all 3.
Yep. Win Saturday, beat Fleetwood. I think Fleetwood will be nervy because of the Cheltenham game, but I think we'll find a way. And Peterborough, excellent at home, score a lot of goals. They're not as good away from home, and I think we'll have the edge being at Portman Road. So, yeah, 9 points for me. I think the one that I could see us, although they haven't been in great form recently, but I think the one where I see us dropping points would either be Wickham or Portsmouth.
Okay. Vicky, same question to you. Before we do, we've just been notified that under the Kosh 1 hour category, you know, the ones that are done by ex-professional players, and second was Hard Truth. Remind me, Hard Truth. That would be, Peterborough United's owner that actually does the podcast. I mean, you're going to get beat, at least get beat by actual industry professionals. Do you know what I mean? Like, fair play. Congratulations to the winners. Exeter Fleetwood Posh. 9 points there, Vicky. Are you taking all 9 like Lewis said, or are you going for 6? What are you taking from those first 3?
I would say 7.
7. Okay. All right. Then up after that, you've got Wickham away, Oxford at home, and Pompey away. What are you taking from those 3?
3.
So who are you beating?
So the again.
Wickham away, Oxford home, Portsmouth
Oxford home
away.
are beating.
Okay. 3. Okay. Lewis, how about you?
I'm going to say we lose at Wickham, and we will beat Oxford, and we'll beat Portsmouth.
We'll beat Timeway City.
Yeah. We won 4-0 there last year. We've got nothing to fear. We've got nothing to fear against any of these teams.
Timeway City or Oxford. They go everywhere and anywhere and just.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Oxford. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Portsmouth.
No.
Yeah, I think we'll beat Oxford. We'll beat Oxford. I think we've got plenty to be optimistic about.
We sure have, yeah. But it's just injuries. They kill any season, and I said before we went live, and I'll say it on there because I'll back up what I say off air on air. The fixture list could have been worse for the run of injuries that we've got at the moment. You know, you look at it: Exeter, Fleetwood, Wickham away, Oxford at home. They should be winnable games, even with the injuries we've got. The 2 games I'm looking at, I'm thinking, okay, with the injuries now, Posh and Pompey, they're the 2 that perhaps if you said to me, would you take 4 points now, I'd bite your hand off. If you said I'll give you 3, I'd probably also bite your hand off because they're tough games, Vicky. Those 2.
There's no easy matches.
I knew you were going to say that.
But there isn't, is there? You know, what we think we're going to win, we come out with a totally different result, and those matches that we go to and think we're not going to win this, we usually end up like 6-0 winning. You know, so it really is just pot luck, isn't it? It's whichever team comes out on the day and how much concentration they put in. I agree that we shouldn't fear anybody.
No,
and I don't think we do, but I do think we lack that concentration. So we have to make sure that doesn't affect us.
I've listened for the last 6 weeks, possibly even longer, and this isn't singling any person out, but not at all. I've listened to people say there's too much chopping and changing. The players don't know if they're starting or not starting, and McKenna's tinkering too much. Well, because of injury now, we don't have that luxury. That might actually, playing devil's advocate, that might unite the squad. People know that they're going to be getting more game time, more minutes, and not be thinking, oh, that board's going to be coming up after an hour and I'm going to be making way for John Jules because we haven't got John Jules on the sideline or whoever it may be. So sometimes in the face of adversity, that brings the best out, and it might mean that we rally together. I think, and we touched on it at the beginning, I think at times we're almost too comfortable in games because we are that much better than teams. We keep the ball. Teams can't get the ball off us. And yes, we're not converting that into points, but we are very dominant in most games. Whereas this might add an extra edge where the players come into games thinking, okay, we're not down to bare bones, but we've got him missing. This is so-and-so's opportunity. And they might really thrive on that. You know, we've talked about Humphreys playing more minutes. That could be the making of him. Or Kyle Edwards now being, you know, he's got one less person to battle against for that left-sided position because John Jules is out. These are all opportunities. And I think it's easy to worry about certain players being out, but we can't change that. I think we've got to get to January. And I think we still need to go into those games optimistic, because if we're not optimistic, that will soon rub onto the players and the atmosphere and the environment. So I think we just have to go for it. And look, as I said, Plymouth have got injuries. Other teams are going to have injuries. You know, who's to say we go to play Portsmouth after Christmas and Colby Bishop and Marlon Pack and some of the other better players that they've got, they're not out injured. We don't know. So I just think, let's embrace it. You know, we're second in the league, all to play for us. And if we don't get as many points as we're predicting in December, season's not over. There is such a long way to go. The beauty of this is we've put ourselves in a strong position, which we didn't do last year.
Yeah,
that
is true.
Very true. Gino, Fleetwood could be a banana skin. They become the draw specialist of the league, a bit like us last season. 18 says Colin. David will take at least 6 from Exeter, Fleetwood and Peterborough. Lose to Peterborough is possible. Don't tell Colin that, David, whatever you do. Finches, I think the misfire will continue against Exeter with a draw, then back to wins. Other than a draw against Peterborough, then we will hit high gear and grab the season by the scruff of the neck. 12 says David. Craig listened under the cush on the way to work. Well, we're checking out if you haven't already. Some great professional stories on there. To be fair, I've heard a couple of those myself. Norman, Gov, with our injuries, you managed to bring your boots to Portman Road. They wouldn't want me playing.
I know someone who is tempted to bring his boots after his 5 goals the other night.
Oh, Christ.
Who?
Yeah. Don't encourage him.
Oh, God.
I'm sure he'll be listening back to this when he's travelling back from the FCAs tomorrow. So, no, when Rich went along to present a disability team with their tracksuits, I think they had a game, and I don't know if Burns and Wolfie played, but they were down there. But yeah, Rich scored 5 goals in the game, apparently. Not that he's meant.
He needs to be a bit careful at his age, really, doesn't he?
He does. Matt Stannard, still a massive achievement to get there. Absolutely, huge achievement. We can only get there thanks to yourself and you and everybody else watching at home. So thank you for getting us there. And hey, I'm not upset at finishing 4th or worse to the 2 podcasts that come first and second. They're 2 phenomenal podcasts in their own right. Then you add in the connections and where they are in the game or how they've been in the game, and you know, wow, just wow. So we've done the midfield, we've done the centre half position. Let's look at the league table as we head into the weekend. Obviously, we play Exeter live on Sky. We currently sit in 2nd position still. We have a good opportunity, obviously, to put the pressure on Plymouth again and also Wednesday by playing early. But there is your league table, 18 games, 38 points. Exeter currently sit at 9th with 25 points. So, you know, a top 10 side, albeit a new side to the division. Expectations from the weekend, Vicky? Are you expecting a strong performance and a solid win? Or do you think the league position slightly worries you with Exeter? What are your thoughts as we head into it?
Well, I didn't realise we were live on Sky, so fuck's sake.
Live on Sky.
I still think we'll get a win on Saturday. I've got to be hopeful because I can't risk being thrown out of a pub again. So I'm putting all my money on a win.
I like it. Colin. Lewis, rather. So I think Colin with the comment about the GOAT is brilliant, would be brilliant in midfield. As I say, Colin. Although with your help at the moment, just calm yourself down, Colin. Perhaps, you know, a bit of a Mike Bassett role on the side. I don't know. Lewis, confident heading into it? Obviously, Exeter in 9th. You like Vicky? Got to be a win?
Exeter have done really well, and they score goals, and
they do.
They've got some players who I think...
One particularly.
If it was a wider scope, yeah, they've got that in Dom Ball.
Nope,
I always thought Matchday was a really good player. He was always good in League 2, but he's not been getting in the team. They've got Giovanni Brown, but the main man at the moment is Adam Stans.
No, not him.
Oh, Jay Stansfield, isn't it?
It is Jay, but it's not him. It's the dream, Lewis. Come on, son.
No.
Raheem Harper is their best player. No, he can't play. It means we're going to win because their best player can't win. But
sorry, I'm with you. I was a bit slow on the uptake then.
Absolutely, I am lying to you when I tell you that Raheem Harper is their best player. But I'm going to tell you anyway. They've got a factual show.
They have got good players, and they've adjusted well to League One. I think it's too small a scope for us to be saying, because I've heard a couple of people mention, we should go and sign him from Exeter. We should sign him from Exeter. I think the scope of their ability to do it in League One is too small for us to be taking a gamble in January based on where we need to get to. Stansfield, I think, could potentially be a good signing next year. He's certainly that physical presence. So, in short, they'll score goals, but I'm fully confident I'm going to go for a win for Town, but both teams to score and a win, I think, would be a good bet.
Okay. All right. So you're both confident heading into it, which I absolutely love.
I'm always confident until the kickoff, and then it just goes downhill a little bit. But I am confident that we will get a win.
All right. I like it.
Why shouldn't we be confident? We have played so well in so many games. Yes, we've made errors at times. We've analysed them. We do analyse as supporters the errors and the drop points quite a lot, but we tend to analyse them more than we analyse the wins and the good pieces of play, the good passages of play. You know, at times, some of the football we played even on Saturday was great. And we focused on the goals we conceded at Charlton. What about the goals we scored at Charlton? Now, I'm not being everything's absolutely fine and I'm really happy and, you know, everything else. But I think we should go into every game with a degree of confidence because, like I said earlier, no team has outplayed us and there's nothing to suggest that Exeter are going to outplay us. No. You know, we might have tough times where we've got to dig in and we've got to show that mental resilience, but we're going to have chances as well. And I'm fully confident. I think we should be confident going into all these games despite the injuries.
Yeah, totally agree. No teams outplayed us. I think you're actually probably right there.
Not for the whole game. Teams have had spells.
No, I'm trying to think. I can't think where we have. You're right. Everyone has spells. It's football. It's 90 minutes. You know, you got a parity across the league, even from the best to the worst. You expect it. But I think you're right. I think
the Peterborough, the Plymouth away game. If you remember, and I know what your memory's like, but just to refresh that, it was a bit of a back and forth game. In the first half, it was quite scrappy. Ladapo scored a bit of a lucky goal, but he had a couple of decent chances before that as well. Their keeper made a few decent saves. And then the first quarter of an hour of that second half, we absolutely battered them when we were 1-0 up. And it was only when they equalised, we then dropped deeper and deeper and deeper and couldn't keep hold of the ball. And you could see that a second Plymouth goal was coming. But it wasn't as though they played us off the park for even the whole of the second half. And I would say the only other team where I have felt that we've been really under the cosh, excuse the pun, given the award ceremony tonight, but was the first half against Bolton, first game of the season, when they came out with a game plan and made it really difficult for us, and we were a bit flat. But we went into that at 1-1 at half time, and then second half should have got the winner. We didn't, but yeah, I just don't see any game in which a team has turned us over, and that happened last year. It's not happened this year.
Happened a couple of times too many times. But
teams kept us at arm's length in certain games last year. Sheffield Wednesday, we lost at Hillsborough. Didn't really lay a glove on them. Rotherham in both games. Yeah, we had chances in the away game, but we didn't really lay a glove on them. Wigan, we drew both games, but I think we were lucky to come away with a point, arguably, in both games. You know, that's not happened this year. We went to Sheffield Wednesday. We were 2-0 up. Had their crowd not kicked off at the linesman and the referee and nearly got the game abandoned, and there were 6 minutes of stoppages. Had that not happened, I think we would have gone on and seen that out. And all the concern about throwing away 2-goal leads would then be our sample pool of throwing away 2-goal leads, if we took the Sheffield Wednesday one out, would be Port Vale, in which we rallied and won the game without our captain, and the Charlton game, in which we did it twice, that I'm still putting down as a freak. So it's only actually been 3 games this season we've thrown away 2-goal leads. Yes, one of them we did it twice, but you know, it happens.
I think a draw for me just feels like a loss because I'm so passionate and I want them to succeed. I need them to succeed because I've had so many years of just a load of shite, really. And I feel that I want them to succeed. And when they don't, even when it's a draw, which isn't a loss, I still feel it. And I'm not going to apologise for that. That doesn't make me negative, and I'm still very positive for the season. But I can be mad and I can be pissed off and I can be angry because we didn't win.
But
that's how I see
that's
it.
passion, isn't it? And no one can doubt yours or anyone else's passion, and that should be respected, and you should be proud to have that passion for something. The number of people that don't follow football and follow football clubs that don't quite get it, and look, my wife would be one of the first people to say that she doesn't quite get it. She's not interested in football. But I've sort of said to her, how, you know, without giving my age away too much, I'm not yet 40, but I'm getting close to it. I've supported Ipswich Town. This is my 30th season of going. And I've said to her, what do you do now that you did 30 years ago that you're that passionate about? And there's nothing. And I'm not trying to isolate anybody in this. I'm just talking about my own personal experiences. Nobody will get it unless you share that level of passion. Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Against Charlton, I was really pissed off. I was as pissed off as probably most people that come on here. But I think what we have to sometimes do is look at the bigger picture, take a step back. And that can be really hard sometimes. And you're not necessarily always going to do it straight after a game. You're possibly not even going to do it that weekend.
Lewis, it takes me 3 days. It does. It takes me 3 days to calm down.
That's absolutely fine. But also as well, we've been starved of success. We've had false dawn after false dawn of getting your hopes up. And people almost want to protect themselves. I was talking to Colin about this yesterday. People want to protect themselves by not getting their hopes up too much because they don't want to go through that hurt. Well, I think regardless of who you are, we're all passionate enough and we're united in that passion. If we don't get to where we want to be, it's going to hurt us all again, isn't it? But I think you can either be fearful of that or you can embrace it and go, do you know what? We're second in the league. And yeah, we normally blow it, but we're not going to blow it this year. And we're going to get behind it. And we're going to, because if we play everything down and just look at the negatives, until we get over the line, we're not potentially, even if we go on a great run, promotion's not going to be confirmed until what, April at the earliest. So we can either enjoy the fact we're second now and look forward and look ahead, or we wait until April or May when it's confirmed, and then we've got what, a month to enjoy it, and then we're looking at championship games going, I don't fancy going away to Sheffield United, or we've got Wolves at home and we won't get any points, and you go straight back into that worrying mode again and that stress level. I think there's enough crap going on in the world at the moment for us not to enjoy the fact we're second in the league. And
you're totally right.
Yeah, spot on. I will just defend myself. It's not the memory. It's just that this chair is the closest you're going to get to a football dugout in the sense of I have to review the game and then flush it, whether it's a win, lose, or a draw. When Wednesday hits, that's gone. We're now eyes forward, you know, and I suppose it's very much the same, you know, in Portman Road and other football grounds up and down the country. You can look at the game from a Saturday. So Cheltenham, for example, would have been fresh in the memory. Charlton 4-4, Saturday night, Sunday. But there's a point you've got to turn yourself in the opposite direction and have eyes forward. And I think McKenna's really good at that at Portman Road. And I think really get that they of course do as Lewis just said there, enjoy the highs, have the celebratory moments. But it's always about eyes forward. What's coming, you know, because you can't affect what's gone. Whether it was 4-4 and 2 days off, whether you thought that was a good idea or not, or a 4-0 when you have a whole week off. You can't affect what's already gone. You can only affect what is to come. And obviously Exeter is on the horizon. Before I ask for your score predictions, many in the chat have already started beating me to it. Jukebox, your entry, your X Factor moment, you can plead to the Talking Town faithful why they should put your song in to the Jukebox. Vicky, what is your song entrant and why should they select it in the poll?
Look, don't anybody select mine because I'm usually a load of shit with it. But I think I was gonna be predictable and say something like George Michael, Faith, but I'm not. I'm gonna say Kaiser Chiefs. I predict a riot.
Okay, all right. We've had
because I think we'll run riot over him.
That may already be in there. I will have to check the Duke. No. We had that. That was an entrant put forward last week when it was preceded that we would do the same. I'm not sure if it won though. Again, that memory thing that Lewis was talking about a second ago. If it's in there, it's in there. If it's not, it's not. Lewis,
Do you want me to choose another one?
That's all right. I've got one as well this week, so it's okay. But I'm not even sure it's in there myself yet. Lewis?
I don't know if this is in there. I doubt it, and I was saving it for May. But I'm going to bring it forward tonight, given the fact that we've got some of our Talking Town family community at the FCAs, and I know the spoiler alert, the results have been announced, but I just want to touch, and a lot of people over the last couple of days have shared their feedback on Talking Town and what it means to them and how people have come either during lockdown to it or later. I know Richard Chandler shared with us that he's gone back and listened to previous episodes because he only kind of joined the community in the summer. So I think the FCAs are, the fact that we were nominated is a testament to you, testament to all the other contributors, Rich, Matt, and everything that everybody does, the guests that we've had on, the high level of guests that we've had, and everyone in the chat, and whether you have donated money, are part of the Talking Town Fifth Stand, or even if you just follow it from time to time, give a like on social media or maybe chip in the chat. I think we're all champions regardless of the result tonight. And so predictably, and also, like I say, I'm bringing it forward from May where we can play it again. We are the champions by Queen.
I like it. All right. My entrant, don't normally get an entrant, but I'll have one this week, is going to be for Minor. Remember the name. Just because I think this Saturday, a young man live on Sky will step forward and people will suddenly be aware on the wider scale of a midfielder that goes by the name of Humphreys.
I thought you were going to say Raheem Harper.
No. They're already aware of Raheem the Dream. He's world known. But remember the name, Humphreys, Fort Minor. So they are the three entrants for the Jukebox. Get voting. Winner will be decided in just a memento. Score predictions coming right up. Matthew Plummer will lose to Exeter. We are not good enough for top two. But Colin says 3-1. Thriller of a game says Matt 3-4. David says 1-1. Kieran says 6-1. 2-0 from Gino. Norman can see Kamara playing a key role and scoring on Saturday. Matthew comes back and says, the thing is, as soon as things start going against us, we crumble into the sea. If I'd seen that now, I'd go for a bit of Darling, Darling, stand.
I was going to choose that one.
Oh, stand. That's a good song to be fair. I'm not going to play that after the show. Mike Baker, we put up for shit for years. The club was broken. Our owners are rebuilding. The team is rebuilding. Second in the league, playing good stuff. Onwards and upwards, one would say. Matt, I think a draw when you've been ahead and comfortably ahead feels like a loss. Being one up and then being battered, coming away 1-1 is fine. David, if we're looking for negative precedents, we don't want this season to pan out like 04-05. We need promotion, and we get edged down to a 3-horse race. Reading away was the Charlton 4-4 of that year. Yeah, cheers for that. Unhappy man.
Big thank you to David for his donation as well in the chat.
Yes, thank you very much, David. You are on. I was moving down the list because I've not.
Sorry to jump ahead.
No, you're absolutely fine. It goes in a forum where you can just move the tab up and down. So I hadn't moved it for a while to leave the score predictions where I could see them. But no, absolutely huge donation from the man, the myth, the legend that is David. David, you are such a generous and warm and kind man. So thank you ever so much for the donation there. It really, really does mean a lot. To the rest of you, where are you? I mean, come on. Poor David, podcast on his back. No, I'm joking, but cheers, David. I don't mean to appreciate that. Vicky, score prediction, please, for the weekend.
I'm going to go for 3-1 to us.
I guess that. Three, like it. Lewis?
3-2. We'll go 2-0 down, win 3-2, and then we'll all be celebrating coming from behind to win.
I mean, that does sound good, except I know what 2-0 down Martin will be like.
It's that whole thing, though, of do you take automatic promotion or do you take promotion via the playoffs, knowing that you're going to get promoted, if that makes sense? If someone could tell you, yeah, you're going to get promoted and you're going to have a day out at Wembley, you take that over coming second and lifting a trophy that no one even knows there is a trophy for.
I wouldn't.
Automatic for me.
The stress and the agony of getting there.
Pina colada, sunglasses, just You don't need to
Yes.
be worrying about playing Wednesday twice in.
Totally.
But then
I've got enough grey hairs. I don't need any more. Thank you.
Do you know?
But if you could transport forward and see the result and see us at Wembley, you would take that over coming second, wouldn't you? If you knew we were going to get promoted and you go have a day out at Wembley.
If I knew.
Yeah,
I wouldn't transport
but we
forward.
don't.
I've
So
got a lot of good stuff coming up.
If I knew we were going to win 3-2 on Saturday, coming from 2-0 down, you take it, wouldn't you? You take the stress because you know you come back. But in the meantime, if we went 2-0 down, I think certain fishing lakes and I don't know. I think people would be launching things in fishing lakes and having a bit of a meltdown, wouldn't they, if we went 2-0 down to Exeter?
I would be having a meltdown. I know what 2-0 down Martin would be like. It wouldn't be someone I want to be around. So for my
me too.
for my sanity, for my blood pressure, for my heartbeat, my heart rate, just give me a boring 1-0 away win. That's just fine. Just be boring for once, Town.
I'll tell you what, we'll win 3-2 and Walton will get the winner going up for a corner. So rather than hitting the bar at Plymouth, it'll cross the line.
Lord, can you imagine? Again, my heartbeat can't take this type of excitement. For the first time ever, when I cut my hair this time, there was more grey left on than there was gone.
I'd love to see a grey hair. It'd be brilliant.
No, it was really upsetting. Every time he cut it, I thought I'd see more on my chest than on my hair. But every time I looked down and looked back up again, it was more here than here, and I was thinking, fuck.
You should be counting yourself very lucky that you got hair. So,
I do every day. Even though the forehead's going further and further up my head. But I count myself lucky. Lucky enough that I've got a birthday next week, next Thursday, to be precise. Just drop some hints there.
Oh, happy birthday for next Thursday.
I'm turning 33 again.
Oh.
And I actually mean again, because I thought I was 33, but my wife tells me apparently I'm 32 at the moment. So...
Do you know I'm old enough to be your mother?
Only my... Oh, right. Fair enough. Fair enough. There you go.
Only if you're from Essex, Vicky.
Yeah. I was going to ask how old you were, but actually I'm not going to ask that live on the internet, and you can't ask a lady at her age. Adi would love to see hair.
I'm with Adi on that one.
Right. Anyway, back to the jukebox. We have currently got a 42% win for me. Fucking yes. End that. Oh, quick, son. Right. Boom. Ended it. I've won something. Yeah, I didn't win the FCAs, but we did win this. So, remember the name will enter the jukebox.
You get played We Are the Champions.
We could save that for May when we actually are the champions.
You just won.
Oh, I can play it. Yes.
Yeah, you can play it.
You are sharp tonight, Lewis Robertson. You have clearly had your Weetabix today because you are faster than me. I am on traditional old school, tuning TV signals, and you're on fucking super fast Virgin Media stuff because you're well ahead of me. You're probably already know Saturday's result already.
3-2, Walton, last minute goal.
Yeah, don't fucking do that to me. Don't play with my emotions in that manner. I did have a comedy. What's your favourite comedy joke or comedian? But you've just smashed it at the park with talking. There's just no need for me to even try and fill 30 seconds. So we'll save that for another special time. But it's been a thoroughly enjoyable show of an hour and 8 minutes. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being with me. It's been a great show. What can I say? He has been the wonderful rap star Lewis Robertson, the wonderful no filter Yorkshire Vicky Henderson. We are Talking Town FCA finalists 2 years in a row. I am the Gov. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for being a Talking Town 5th stander or a YouTube member. Carry the chat over on Discord, 24/7 365. But until Friday 8:30, our last 8:30 before the World Cup. Have a enjoyable last 20 minutes if you're like me and old and go to bed at 10.
You make me smile when I think of you. If I